Our next guest is one of several GOP senators who plan on objecting to the Electoral College vote on Wednesday unless an emergency 10-day audit is conducted in the disputed battleground states. That's what Senator Ted Cruz is also pushing for. I'd like to welcome to the program the ranking member on the Senate Homeland Security Committee, Wisconsin's Republican Senator Ron Johnson. Senator, great to have you on the program.
Well, Grant, you laid out the case very well.
Well, I try here every night, Senator, right? And what gets me the most is with Nancy Pelosi controlling the House and her minions there. I know we have to put up this fight, and I'm grateful for you putting up this fight, but does it die there? What really needs to happen to turn this around for us, Senator?
Well, you would need state legislators to get involved and send letters. Again, it's pretty late in the process. It would have been nice a couple months ago if they would have met. Whether the governor called them to session or not, I mean, this is, the Constitution lays it out for the state legislators. Governors don't have to be involved. It's the legislatures that determine the time, place, and manner of elections, and they need to step up the plate. I appreciate the fact that they've held hearings, they've laid out some of the abuses, they've laid out some of the irregularities that need further investigation. But I think the primary part of our effort is to, first of all, take these allegations seriously. You know, the mainstream press just loves to say, well, there's no evidence. Well, it's because you haven't looked. Now, I've been doing investigations for 6 years. I've been accused of going down all kinds of rabbit holes, conspiracy theories. They say, oh, there's no evidence. That's because people don't look, because they're not curious. Courts don't want to get involved in these election cases, so they just dismiss them as, oh, you bring the case too early or too late. You have lack of standing, cloak of lashes, you know. This is what's so difficult about proving fraud, and one of the reasons that I think fraud is probably growing in this country is we don't investigate it, we don't prosecute it, and so people can conduct fraud with impunity. But there's a real problem with courts not taking up these cases. There's a problem of the Trump campaign not being able to actually get evidence. They're barred from looking at the paper ballots. There's so many irregularities here. There's so many allegations that need a full investigation. And that's really why I signed on to Ted Cruz's effort. Let's at least do a 10-day emergency investigation. Let's organize this. Let's lay out for the American public. Now, I don't know what's going to happen on January 6th. I have a hard time imagining any scenario where even one Democrat in the House will vote to eliminate or disapprove of any of Biden's electors. But we can at least raise these issues and move forward. And as chairman of the permanent subcommittee of investigation, if we win these two Georgia Senate races, I am absolutely dedicated to getting to the bottom of this as long as it takes.
Well, certainly, Senator, it's about future elections as well here, and that needs to be considered when we're trying to investigate all the allegations of fraud. So this 10-day emergency audit, what needs to happen to make that become a reality? Would Nancy Pelosi's House need to sign on to that as well?
Yeah, we'd have to pass in the Senate, which would require 60 votes, and then we would require Nancy Pelosi to do it as well. So again, the odds are very long. There's no doubt about it. I recognize the reality. But again, that doesn't mean by objecting, by raising these issues, that we're doing anything dangerous. That's what drives me nuts in this process. My investigation has been termed dangerous. It's not dangerous. It's what's required. We have
Senator,
a large percentage of the American population that thinks this is an illegitimate election. That's not a sustainable state of affairs for our country.
No, it sure isn't. I was just talking to Jenna Ellis, the president's attorney, literally moments before our interview. She raised the prospect of possibly having Vice President Pence say, I would like the legislators in these respective states to clarify and go back and take a look at these electors and buy us some time. Do you think that could be a viable option in his role of overseeing the joint session?
I don't know the legality of that. Again, I think I understand what the result of this is going to be. If we object, both bodies retire to their chambers. We have 2 hours of debate, and then we vote. Every member votes. I mean, I think a little misinformation on the right is that it immediately reverts to that vote by the states where we have an advantage. No, every member of Congress will vote whether or not to accept the slate of that state's electors. And again, I have a hard time imagining a scenario where any Democrat's going to vote to disallow the electors of Joe Biden.
Which is why, Senator, I'm with you. We have to put up this fight because it is about principle, and we're about the principle and the rule of law, this party is. I also do want to make it clear, everybody out there that thinks it's each state, that doesn't happen until we get below the 270 mark where for electors. So I'll give you the last word here. The message has to be to the state legislators controlled by Republicans in states like Pennsylvania and Arizona, Wisconsin, Georgia, to stand up to the plate, and they've got to do something, if not tonight, tomorrow, or it's too late, isn't it, Senator?
It is, and then long term, state legislators have to realize, because we're raising this objection, you are putting at risk disenfranchising the voters of your state if you do not follow the Constitution, and do not allow judges, don't allow unelected election officials to usurp your role in this constitutional process. We are putting state legislators on notice. You have to stand up for your rights. You're the ones that determine the time, place, and manner of elections. Don't give that to somebody else. Don't allow them to usurp that responsibility.
Well, you brought this segment full circle, because that gets into the cowardice that I see from them of not wanting to do the right thing for this nation instead of covering their own hides for some reason. Senator Ron Johnson, I appreciate you putting up the fight up there. We'll be watching over the next few days. Thank you so much, sir.
Have a good night. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, too. Still